Sometimes, death is all you can see. It's all around you. It consumes you.
No. Oh no! They're all dead! They're all dead, Sarge!
So you have to look it in the eye.
If something happens to me, promise me you'll look for Maria.
And bare your teeth.
Gears of War is a video game franchise known for its unique third-person shooter gameplay, multiplayer, gore, and perhaps seen as a dude bro shooter. But Gears of War is way more than just that. In fact, the universe behind this iconic franchise is very underrated and imaginative, with so many well-written stories, factions, characters, and much more. Some of you may be long-time Gears of War fans, or you may have simply heard of the franchise but never had the chance to play it, or you may just be a fan of great works of fiction. So, I am your host Abz, and here is your introduction to the well-crafted universe of Gears of War lore. Gears of War is a fictional world that takes place on the planet Sera, a place that has a history of conflict and war that took the planet to the brink of destruction. The humans of Sera had discovered a liquid called emulsion flowing underground that became a key power source. The value of this new energy source led to a 79-year war over the substance, fought between the two superpowers of the planet Sera, the Coalition of Ordered Governments and the Union of Independent Republics, until eventually the COG had won the war. But on the planet Sera, peace was fragile, and very shortly after, a new threat emerged from below. Unlike any threat or anything seen before, a subterranean race of genocidal monsters that were later identified as the Locust Horde, digging their way out of the underground and wiping out billions of humans and attacking major cities across Sera. They were initially seen as mindless feral monsters by the humans and soldiers of the COG, but they quickly learnt that this was not the case, as the Locust Horde's leaders were considered to be military geniuses, and their vast array of creatures at their disposal made it seem like a war that humanity was destined to lose. Peace was nothing but an illusion to the humans of Sera, but the Gears weren't pushovers in the slightest. Many of them were combat hardened, with some having decades of experience, and many were large, powerful, and muscular, so they weren't your average humans. And so they were able to go toe-to-toe with the Locust's foot soldiers. The Coalition of Ordered Governments was the new dominant superpower. They had recently weaponized newer technology and were stronger than ever. It was a fight for survival. It was a fight for humanity, and the COG were willing to sacrifice lives for the greater good in the war effort against the Locust Horde. But the COG themselves had many dark and grim secrets of their own. Now of course, if you're new to the Gears of War lore in 2023, where can you start after this video? Well, I wouldn't be doing myself justice if I don't recommend my Gears of War lore Ultimate playlist. With over 100 lore videos, covering many stories, factions, characters and much more, alongside lore movies. Yeah, lore movies, and even more to come. But if you want to get more hands-on and really immerse yourself into the world of Gears of War, then of course I would recommend playing through the video games, mainly the original trilogy, as they are what make the franchise so special. However, if you prefer reading books and comics, then here are some recommendations. Gears of War Aspho Fields. This novel switches between past and present. The novel opens 1 week after the events of Gears of War 1, which takes place 14 years after Emergence Day. But the book mainly flashes back to the Pendulum Wars, going in depth of Marcus Phoenix's upbringing and his relationship with Dom Santiago and his older brother Carlos Santiago, as well as other notable missions in the Pendulum Wars, and explaining Carlos's fate. Gears of War The Slab, which is a prequel to the very first Gears of War game, a story about a war hero who becomes a traitor. This is the story of Marcus Phoenix doing the unthinkable, abandoning his post and defying orders during a critical battle in order to save his father, Adam Phoenix. Marcus Phoenix was sentenced to the COG's most brutal maximum security prison, known as the Slab. Gears of War Jacinto's Remnant. This novel takes place and bridges the gap between Gears of War 2 and another tie-in book, which we'll get to in a moment. But this book follows two storylines. One storyline begins hours after the flooding of Jacinto at the end of Gears of War 2, and its consequences and aftermath for both the humans and the Locust. And the other storyline flashes back 13 years prior, towards the start of the Locust War, and Chairman Prescott's first actions as the new chairman of the coalition of ordered governments. Gears of War Anvil Gate. This novel takes place after Jacinto's Remnant, and explains the fate of Jacinto's survivors in their attempt to rebuild society, until the Lambent mutants begin to advance across the planet, as well as using Hoffman as a narrative vehicle to explain a flashback storyline in the Pendulum Wars, in his defense of the COG garrison of Anvil Gate. Gears of War Coalition's End. This novel takes place between Anvil Gate and Gears of War 3, where eventually the COG is disbanded and contact with Anvil Gate was lost. It looks like everyone is stranded now. There are also some Gears of War comic books I'd recommend, such as the following: Gears of War The Rise of RAAM, which explains the origins of the terrifying Locust General and the Locust's battle against Lambent underground, which leads to the events of Emergence Day. Gears of War Dirty Little Secrets, which is set between Gears of War 2 and 3, and is basically the summarized comic equivalent to some of the novels that bridge the gap between Gears 2 and 3. Gears of War Hollow, which takes place after Gears of War 1, as Delta Squad investigates seismic activities in the city of Montevado, as well as introducing new iconic characters at the time. Gears of War Baron, where Delta investigate a signal from the city of Jalaine, as the Gears are ambushed by Locust forces, and they discover the COG's breeding farms. And there are some standalone comic issues, such as Ty Caliso's and Jonathan Harper's story, which are excellent, but some of the standalone issues don't exactly light the world on fire. So that, my friends, is your introduction to Gears of War lore in 2023, and where to start if you want to immerse yourself in this brilliant universe. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more similar content like this, and I'll leave a link at the top right of the screen if you want to watch my other lore videos as well. I'm your host Abz, and as always, I will catch you guys next time.